Chapter 9.2a, Homework, Level 1. Number 6. You're going to solve this by using a square root. So first thing is to isolate the squared value. This one is already isolated. So you're going to take square root on both sides. And whenever you take square root on both sides, you always use the plus or minus sign. We take square root on both sides to cancel the square and square root terms. So you got here is x equals square root of 25 is 5. So you have two answers, plus or minus 5. Similarly, you do that for number 7. Take square root on both sides. You got x equals plus or minus 6. For number 8, when you take square root on both sides, you got x squared, cancel with the square root, so x equals plus or minus, you can write the 8 as 4 times 2, and you know that the square root of 4 is 2, that is outside of the radical symbol, and this 2, that remaining 2 remain inside, so the answer is x equals plus or minus 2 times square root 2. For number 9, you're going to take square root on both sides. You got x equals plus or minus square root 12. And we are going to change 12 as 4 times 3. And square root of 4, that is 2, outside of the radical symbol. The 3 remains inside the square root, and your answer is 2 times square root 3. Remember to put the plus or minus sign every time. For number 12, it said on the top, isolate the square term. This is my square term, and I'm going to isolate from 16. So which means that I'm going to add 16 on both sides. So x squared is isolated. Now I'm going to take square root on both sides. So I got square and square root cancel, x equals plus or minus 4. That's your answer. Add 9. You got x squared equals 9. Take square root on both sides. Square and square root cancel, x equals plus or minus 3 is your answer. For number 10, you're going to take square root on both sides, and this time you don't have to write plus or minus 0 because 0 is just 0. So this is just like one solution. Take square root on both sides. You got plus or minus 169. You got x equals plus or minus 13 because square root of 169 is 13. Add 81 on both sides. X squared equals 81. And now you take square root on both sides. You got x equals plus or minus 9. Plus 18. You got x squared equals 18. When you take square root on both sides, you got square root of 18. And you can write 18 as 9 times 2. And we know that square root of 9 is 3. That comes out of the radical. And the 2 remains inside. Answer is x equals plus or minus 3 times square root 2. Number 14, you're going to isolate the square term, that is x squared. So which means that we need to remove the 98. And then we're going to remove 2. So we're going to add 98. You got 2x squared equals 98. And then you're going to remove the 2. So you're going to divide with 2. X squared equals 49. Then you're going to take square root on both sides. X equals plus or minus 7. Is your answer. Add 27. 3x squared equals 27. You got x squared equals 9. And when you take square root on both sides, x square and square root cancel. X equals plus or minus 3 because square root of 9 is 3.